on sign-off 4. Time 10:44. Minute 3:21.
Hi. Welcome to customer service, a skill that's lacking in EMS. My name is Wade Watson. I'm a critical care paramedic at Lakeview Hospital, and I do some education stuff, both with Sentry and internally teaching some critical care stuff for us. So like I said, we're going to cover customer service, which is a skill that's lacking in EMS. So if you happen to be in EMS activities or came into the wrong room, this is the time to go. It's okay, grab your stuff. Anyone? Well, we just lost about half the room, so let's start our presentation. So customer service in EMS, one of the reasons that I decided on this topic was simply the fact that we've kind of lost the art for empathy and care a lot of times in our patients. We work long hours. We kind of cover a variety of patients. We're asked a lot in our job as paramedics, EMTs, first responders. We deal with dying patients, injured patients, family members who are upset. The list goes on and on. One of the things that I've noticed is back in EMT school or EMR stuff, we don't train our medics and responders anything about communication skills or customer service in general. And I'd like to kind of point out there is a need for it. How does our poor service affect our customers? So 95% of the people who have a poor experience in customer service are going to tell somebody. And of those 95%, they're going to tell at least 5 people. 54% of those people are going to tell an additional 5 people. I know I said that a little confusing, but hang in there. Again, if there's a complaint against us, that person who complained will tell at least 5 other people, 54% of the time. They'll tell somebody else at least 95% of the time that they had a bad experience. This is a fact that, again, our long hours, our lack of sleep maybe, the need to call happens at any moment. And these stressors kind of lead to poor customer service, I've found.
Time 10:46. Minute 3:11.
Just a quick funny slide, right? Who's our customer? We're going to talk about that. So just an overall vision of this lecture. We're going to talk about some of the techniques of communication and communicating better with our customers. I hope that we kind of look at customer service after this as a skill, and a skill that can be taught. Improved customer service would benefit every type of EMS service by higher patient satisfaction. Patient satisfaction in the long run actually means more money back to the company, the department, or the organization. Beyond that, patient satisfaction, improved customer satisfaction, I think is going to result in better attitudes, better morale around the company. So I have a couple goals of this presentation. The first is to recognize what customer service is. Let's define it, and then let's see how it affects EMS. Second, we're going to talk about good and bad customer service within some major companies that you might recognize. We're going to try to take the qualities that find good customer service, and we're going to put those into a package that maybe we can use in EMS and we can communicate better with our patients. Here's that package. I think we can use those qualities of good customer service in training, and I think there's a way to measure that training. I found a few different areas to measure that, and I think we can do it. I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. Finally, this one's a little bit more about our well-being, us being in EMS. Understanding that practicing good customer service will increase or improve the morale and attitude like we talked about in EMS or in our department. Let's tackle it.
Box 400.
So that goal, that first goal we talked about, customer service, what is it? What are a patient's expectations? And we're going to dabble a little bit in kind of what those expectations are when somebody dials 911. So customer service, the definition is the assistance and advice provided by a company to those people who buy or use its services. So I know that's a little weird when somebody doesn't buy our services, but they call us 911 and activate us. So this is our assistance to provide people a product or service. Our skills are that product or service. So let's identify our customers, right? Patients. You might argue this. Again, is it a customer? Do they want or choose? Do they have the ability to choose who they get? Not really. Family members. Family members are also a customer. We got to think about the people out inside the room, concerned people maybe on the phone. Family members we got to treat as customers as well. This might sound a little odd, but police, fire, first responders, our team, if we're not communicating well and we're arguing in between taking care of a patient, that disrespect to the patient and what we're trying to provide to them is going to negatively affect us and negatively affect their thoughts on their care. The next couple are kind of combined, I would say. Communities, government, and maybe even events. Those people are customers as well. We live in a community. If our state, local, county government has a mass casualty incident, they're expecting us as EMS providers, they're expecting a certain level of care. And if those expectations are met or we fail to show up, that negatively impacts us and their satisfaction. So we have to think about those guys as a customer too. Coworkers. This goes right back to that attitude and morale. I think our coworkers deserve better. They don't need me yelling about how many calls I've done today or throwing my food because I just was interrupted during a meal. We have to look at customer service as providing a better environment in our caregiving. Last but not least is kind of usually the final or the first step sometimes in this care. And so it's the hospital, maybe it's the nursing home. It's the other care providers that we use and see. Helping them and treating them as a customer will benefit us in the long run as well. They can be negatively or positively affected by the care that we provide the patient in front of us. And to continue that care, we need to give them the right amount of information. Customer service and EMS. This one's a little bit funny in the fact that this statement, this article that I read, thought that we should be the best at it. We are an industry that is all about compassion and caring for a sick individual, right? Our healing service, EMS in general, must treat not only the broken bones and the diseased organs, but the patient or the person as well. I like to think of it like we are treating a person and not a patient. They have an identity, they have a name. We need to start kind of recognizing that. So, I think a lot of this falls back to 911 in general. 911 is relatively new. I don't know how much you know about 911 or the history of it, but it was first developed in 1967. Oh, we should talk, before we talk about time, what are they expecting? I jumped a slide ahead, but what are they expecting when they call 911? This was a pretty good article, and I think it's right. The people who call 911 expect us to send the very best. No, I don't have 2 6'2" paramedics with excellent skills at this time. Sorry, we're going to have to hold. It doesn't quite work like that, does it? They can't request a certain person or a certain individual when they call 911. But they do expect it. They expect the best. They expect somebody who's going to come in and help them no matter what. We have to figure out how we can do that, how we can do our part. They expect quick and timely response. And they often expect that we understand the problem long before that we get there. They've told dispatch, they've told somebody over the phone what's happening. The expectations are that dispatch has told us everything about this patient and we're going to walk in and make things happen. Realize sometimes that's not always the case most of the time, right? And they expect us to have skills. And the last thing, care and compassion. Coming in with a smile. Now I know that's really tough at 4 in the morning. I've been there. We're not always the most pleasant people. But we have to flip that switch when we go start our patient care or introduce ourselves. A smile goes a long ways. In general, isn't this what they expect? They expect a hero. They expect Superman. They expect maybe the well beyond what we can give them. But we're going to try. When you talk to people about a paramedic, not a lot of people, I think, understand our job. These are a lot of the odd or funny things. You know, my friends think that I'm at the store shopping for fishing goods on my day off or my day at work. Sometimes I think I'm actually a taxi cab driver. Other times I think I am way over my head with pumps and IV and vent tubing and setting up calculations, and it seems overwhelming at times. Remember, we're trying to do the best we can. So, quick game. Family Feud, right? Who doesn't like to play Family Feud? Watch it on TV. So, I read this article on two different cities. One was a town of approximately 18,000. The other was a town of 68,000. These two surveys, they asked what both developments, both cities, expected when they called 911. And it's kind of funny in the fact that both, even though one was a little bit rural and one was a little bit metro, had the same expectations. So, what do you expect when you call 911 in a medical emergency? Get up, stand up, walk around the room, feel free to shout it out. What do you expect when you call 911 for a medical emergency? Any ideas? Thoughts? Well, let's play the game, right? First and foremost, a timely, rapid response. This happens time and time again with their expectations. If we don't show up immediately, or somebody, a first responder, a police officer, they are not happy. And that's a poor way to start our patient care. What about second? Courteous, pleasant, and respectful staff. This goes back to that caring, that smile, that empathy that we need to be better at. Us in EMS, we can do better at this. We need to kind of, again, flip that switch to kind of set that ball rolling, walk in with a smile. 3, a little funny, right? Clean ambulance, clean equipment. They expect they're the first person in the back end of this. They don't want to see somebody else's garbage or anything like that. So it's our job to make sure things are clean and ready and prepared for the next patient, because that will negatively impact them if they see that stuff. Last but not least, this one kind of threw me for a loop, but both cities, rural and country, expected a blanket or something to cover them as they go out. Maybe just they don't want to be seen by the neighbors. The funny thing about this list, if you haven't seen it already or noticed, I don't see anywhere where it talks about our intubation skills, us being able to revive your heart, the equipment, the IV sticks, the skills of a paramedic. Both communities found these 4 things to be their main expectations when they call 911. They all deal directly with customer service. Timely response, courteous, pleasant staff, cleanliness, blanket and a sheet, a little bit of courtesy. So here we are with that history of 911. I quickly started and told you how it's relatively new. 1967, 1968, President's Commission appointed the FCC to work with AT&T to develop a number. That number, 911, is a universal, in the United States and Canada, emergency code. So this all started in 67. The first 911 call was 1968 in Alabama, and the ball is rolling, right? But 10 years later, 11 years later, we only have 26% of the United States with the capabilities of using 911. Not that they don't have a phone, but we don't have the resources. We don't have a dispatch center to get out the right people. Everybody's quick to promote 911, 911 if you need help, but we didn't have the infrastructure to make it happen. By 1987, 50% of the country, 50% of the US had the capabilities to provide 911 service. Only 50% in 1987. Year 2000. So we're 33 years into legislation of 911 passing. We're finally at 93% of the country. You can read, as of last year, 98, 99%. The other funny statistic here is, as of 2014, 70% of all 911 calls were made on a cell phone. I gotta think that statistic is higher right now. It's only going up, right? Who still owns a home phone? Anyone? Again, 911 is advertised as the helpline. Call 911 if you need help. That's sometimes part of the problem that we see today. People call 911 for some of the silliest, odd reasons. Some people are upset when they have police, fire, and EMS all there because they called 911 for whatever, a lift assist or a fall or something, and they only wanted medical or they only wanted police. So the whole concept of 911 is out there. The understanding of what 911 or what an emergency maybe is, a medical emergency versus a police emergency. So this is a task that we're now kind of in need or maybe trying to solve in getting that word out. How about this? 911, right? So you probably can't see the slide from this video, but it's a guy sitting there waiting, you know, with his bags packed ready for the ambulance. The boo-boo bus, right? Sometimes the most minor emergency to somebody is a call to 911. We may think it's minor, but they need our help. We need to find a way to provide good customer service. Anybody had this one? 7 cars in the driveway, but they still need a ride by the ambulance. Nobody at the time can take them. Yeah. This is a short video. It's put on by a small service, and I thought it was really well done. It's called Why We Do This, and it's just a reminder that we are appreciated. There are people out there that appreciate what we do in providing care. I'm not going to show this video just because it takes a little bit longer, and I want to kind of just finish off a little bit with the lecture stuff. But in a normal presentation, I would do this video. It's about 4 minutes. And again, it's just going to kind of remind us what customer service is and what our job is. That second goal, we're just going to look at good and bad customer service and those qualities that make it good and bad. How do we take those qualities of good customer service or excellent customer service and apply them to EMS? So, favorite companies, worst companies, who's had to wait for the cable man for 8 hours straight